public service in Africa. This is very interesting. I'm personally looking forward to this one because I also want to know what is the difficulty really, in public service in Africa. So I see that we have our speaker in with us. We're so glad to have him around. Thank you so much for joining us. So what is Future Africa Forum? So many people might be curious about what it is. So it's a place where passionate African experts in all aspects of development share their perspective on the continent's development. So from their work, their research, their life, they're sharing all their thoughts on Africa's development. And my name is Elizabeth Obode. I'm a programs associate at Future Africa, and I'll be your host for today. But thank you so much once again for joining us. We do not take your time or attention for granted. We're truly, truly glad to have you with us. So it is my honor to welcome Mr. Ibrahim Lawal Ahmed to the 4th Future Africa Forum. So who is he? He's a special assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on development policy in the Office of the Chief of Staff. His key responsibilities involve analyzing the content of proposals sent to the president from various agencies and ministries and making recommendations to inform the president's decision. At the age of 25, Ibrahim Lawal is the youngest special assistant to the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is involved in high-level policy making. He covers areas of policy including agriculture and rural development, water resources, labor and employment, science, technology, innovation, and education. Before his appointment to the position of Special Assistant to the President in 2020, Ibrahim was the personal assistant to Professor Ibrahim Agbola Gambari, a scholar diplomat and the current Chief of Staff to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ibrahim studied political science at Bayero University, Kano, and was a recipient of the late Dr. Tajuddin Abdul Karim Memorial Award for the overall best student in the Department of Political Science in the 2016-2017 session. He proceeded to undertake his National Youth Service at the Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy, Development, an NGO with a vision of promoting peace and shared prosperity in Africa through advocacy and good governance. That's awesome. Ibrahim has a wide range of study areas, including history, political thought and philosophy, political economy, political violence, political psychology, nation building, and international relations. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us today, taking your time to share your thoughts with us, your experiences. We're truly, truly, truly glad to have you. And I'm personally excited about what you're going to share with us today. So if it's okay with you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. As you are reading my short bio, I thought it's someone else. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I can tell you that everyone is really excited to have you here. We're so curious. We're interested. We're passionate about where we can play, and we're really interested to know and understand your own experiences and perspective. So we're ready for you whenever you are ready.
All right. So I can start, right?
Yes, you can. You can.
All right. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Future Africa, for inviting me to this talk. It's really something I look forward to, and maybe more than all of you, I feel so excited to be here, and I couldn't wait. So let me begin by a quote by John Locke. He said, "Government is a trust on behalf of the governed." And I think that this is very important. Many people, in my view, do not have a full grasp about what public service is all about in a generic sense. It is essentially it's not only about working in the government, but essentially about serving the people. It is geared toward providing services, social services that the citizens really need. Let me digress a little to be a bit theoretical. Regardless of the differences among the social contract theory proponents, one thing has remained at the center of all of them. That is, the state has to provide certain basic services, at least securing the lives and properties of the people. So, public service is that organization that render that basic service of the state. There are broadly three categories of public service. Sorry, before I go further, let me say that my experience is rooted in Nigeria. However, I think Nigeria is a country that really personifies Africa. Whatever is happening in Nigeria is something you can find across all the continent. The issue of lack of infrastructure, the issue of ethnicity and ethnic violence, terrorism, and the rest. So, and also I think Nigeria is the most populous sub-Saharan country, I think the most populous country in Africa, right, Elizabeth?
That is correct.
So we are managing about 200 million people. Very interesting people. And believe me, it's not that easy. So I think my experience, something that can be generalized, that can be generalized to Africa as a whole. So broadly, that you can categorize public service into three. There is one, career public service, or sometimes called civil service, which are people that work in the ministry, department, and agencies of government. They rise through cadres up to PAMSEC. And then there are political appointments, such as ministers, such as me, special advisor to assistant to the president, special advisors, such as national security advisor. They are all political appointments by president or governor. Then there are political offices. These ones mostly are the politicians. So it includes the president, the governors, the National Assembly, and all members of the parliament. So you should look at it like a pyramid. At the top are the politicians who bet policy, who put a stamp to a policy. Then at the middle are the technocrats, the political appointees. Mostly those people are the ones that do the real work. They formulate the policy, they supervise the implementation. Then at the bottom are the public service. Those ones majorly are concerned with the execution of that policy. So my talk here is on the basically on the two levels of this public service. My viewpoint is based on the political offices and the technocrat. I don't want to touch much about the ones at the bottom, the career public service. I don't have as much experience there. So now let us go to the main issue, the need for public service. We are in a time right now whereby there's a kind of a campaign for less government in the society. There's a narration that whatever government does is not good. It is as if government is not useful at all. That's how some people think about it. But that is not true. In Africa, I think we need more government, not less government. Because Africa, we are faced with a very hydra-headed challenges. You cannot take each challenge as a vacuum. Each challenge is connected to another challenge. So let's take, for example, ethnicity is linked to poverty. Poverty is linked to insecurity. So for you to address it, you can't say, all right, we will eradicate poverty alone. We are going to just focus on poverty. So we provide social security. That's all. No. Development policy becomes more complex. You have to address peace, conflict. Then you have to also, as well as addressing poverty, that's the issue of inequality, the issue of providing basic needs, the issue of providing infrastructure, other social services, hospitals, and the rest. The problem is only government has the capacity to touch the lives of millions of people at a large scale. The philanthropies, we have so many philanthropies. The philanthropies can only touch a very surface and keep shouting about it. Only government has the resources and the ability to do a mega intervention that will touch millions of people at a time. I'll give you an example. Last year, no, I think it was 2020, due to COVID-19, we were thinking about all sorts of things about how can we get back the economic activities back on track? How can we put it back on track? So one of the things is to pump money into the economy. How can we, all right, if we are going to do that, let us do a small scheme that will first provide a short employment to the youth, then kind of give them some subsistence. So at the end of the day, we agree that we have 774 local governments in Nigeria. We say, all right, we are going to get 1,000 youth from each local government. That is 774,000 youths. And we are going to pay each 30,000 naira for 3 months. That's 90,000. At the end of the day, with logistics and the rest, it costs the government about more than 50 billion naira. And I can't convert it into dollars. I don't know how many million dollars is that. I'm telling you, only government can do a mega project that will cut across every local government of Nigeria. Only government can do that. So also, if you look at the issue of security, particularly the level of insecurity we are facing in this country, or in the whole continent, only government has that capacity and legitimacy to deploy machinery of violence at a very massive scale in order to bring peace into the country. So whether you like it or not, you need public service. And the reason why Africa is the way it is because of the competence and the shortcomings of the public service. Whether you're going to run a private-led economy, you need the public service to serve as a good regulator in order to check the excesses of the private sector. Now, most importantly, in Africa, our diversity is not like in Europe. we are very, very diverse. In Nigeria alone, we have more than 300 ethnic groups and more than 500 languages. And we have this attachment with our native space. And each is pushing to get a share into the national resources. Left on our own, it will be violent. Because if I can't get it, then I will destroy you. So government serve as a mediator, kind of balance of that conflicting interest. I'll talk more about conflicting interests later. It's one of the very key lessons I learned. Now, what is the difficulty, or rather, what are the difficulties of public service? Public service is not an easy job at all. Maybe for most of us, I may wish to hear from you when they say public service, like someone is working in the public service, what comes into your mind? For me, maybe I will assume that you would think of the privileges, official car, official residence, money, good salary, respect internationally and nationally, influence. Yeah, make no mistake about it. Public service gives you that. But with privileges comes responsibilities. And those responsibilities, I think even the privileges are there so that you can focus on your responsibilities. You have good car, good residence, good salary, so that you will not be thinking of personal problems, you'll just be thinking of public issues. And those responsibilities could be very, very hectic. You can be in air-conditioned room and still be sweating. And the kind of issues we are facing now in Africa, they're exigent, such a way that you have to deal with them and deal with them now. There's no two way. You have to deal with it now. The fundamental problem for anyone aspiring for any public office between a technocrat and that political level is not essentially about the solution to the societal problem. I think most of you will be thinking, how do I make a policy? How do I write a policy that can, believe me, that's a very, very easy problem. The problem that you face is an agency problem. By agency, I mean the people. Some call it the system. I put it aside. The people that make the system, but it is the people. First, you have to deal with the public, which is the citizen. Second, you have to deal with the individuals that make up the public service. And third, you have to deal with the groups pushing for their interests, trying to influence policy in their favor. Therefore, policy making involves serious clash of interests among the public service, which reflects interests of those groups. For some of us, we may call it internal contradiction, whereby even among the ministries, even among the agencies, they have their own interests. So if you sit down around the table, sometimes it can be, you will just be launching missiles against each other. This, go this way, go that way, go that. It's very interesting. It's quite interesting, but it's difficult. And one funny thing is that when each of these groups is pushing for their interests, they lobby, they lobby, and they justify it constitutionally with laws, and they justify it morally that is in the interest of the public. Whether that is right or that is wrong, I will leave you for it depends on the context. It's very subjective. It's quite subjective. I'll give you an example. One time we even closed the border from importation of agricultural goods, commodities. Before you know it, the prices of agricultural products skyrocketed. The aim of that policy is to boost domestic production so that we can consume what we produce and produce what we consume. So, as the prices went up, inflation went up, the public started shouting, oh, this is tough, this is this is that. So we sit down. When we sit down in a meeting, people that are benefiting from that policy, domestic rice millers, will be bringing statistics, bringing stories about how good the policy is and how better it will be if it is sustained. People pushing for the opening of the border will be bringing stories, bringing statistics, how bad that policy is and how worse it will be. And we are the policymakers here. We are to decide which way to go. Make no mistake about it. What is professional is personal. This is I want you to take note of this. What is professional is personal. So by pushing their interests, don't think it's just professional. No, that policy is personal. It's also personal to those groups. And to us, it's also personal because if we make wrong policy, it will affect us politically as a government. It will affect us politically. And you know, we are in democratic settings and election is periodic, so it can affect our chances. So we have to take that all into account while making a decision. What I notice also is about the public is the public want change. They want change, like they just want, they say, you can maybe some of us that are following Nigerian politics in 2015, the slogan of the ruling party was change. The thing is, people assume that change can happen with just a snap of a finger. They don't care how you do it, as long as you do it. And by change, they mean make our lives comfortable, let us relax and be enjoying life. However, what people tend to not understand is that change takes time. It takes a lot of time. And what people don't know by demanding that is, I don't blame them quite honestly, is they don't know the capacity of government. The capacity of government to bring the change they desire. And the reason is government work is confidential. What we do, we don't make it public. We can make only the surface, very little public. In fact, most of the confidential messages that used to leak in the press are almost outdated, some of them. Honestly, it has happened, then it will later leak to the press. And the reason why government work is confidential is that what you don't know Ignorance is a powerful factor. So if you don't know something, I can give you an impression and you go with that impression. So government try to do that. Try to give that high level of impression, high level of capacity that we can do a lot of things. But in most cases, most of our government are weak across Africa. We have a very weak state. We have very weak capacity. And you can see it even by the level of developmental coverage across the countries. People don't know that. They assume there are some excessive resources in the coffers of government. So therefore, they make all sorts of demand. That demand, let me go back a little bit. That demand among groups is a reflection. It is what I just explained, that competition. Those groups reflect the demands of the people in the country. The lobby, and probably to me, psychophancy is the biggest industry in Africa. You know, it's the biggest industry. It's not maybe oil as you may think or natural resources. Psychophancy is the biggest industry in Africa. But so maybe Elizabeth should remind me to talk about why our own form of psychophancy in Africa is quite different from that of Europe. Please remind me. And this brings us down to issue of corruption. No doubt there is corruption in public service, but I would rather say there is corruption in Africa, because even in the private sector, yeah, it's also corruption. And probably, I think it's the private sector that is corrupting the public service through this lobbying and psychophancy. They can offer you a lot of things for you to make a policy or to influence a policy in their favor. They can do that. However, let's say this. Honestly, I don't know what corruption is. Corruption has lost meaning in my head. I just don't know what it means. Legally, if you take it legally, you say corruption is act that you do which is not in tandem with the rules and regulations. Let me tell you something. If we stick to the rules and regulation of public service, we are not going anywhere in Africa. We will not develop. We have a very conservative, unprogressive rules that encourages corruption. Let me tell you something. Take for example, simple, you follow due process, you get a contract. To get that contract approved for government to release the money, if you know the process, if it is an emergency issue, people have died already before you even get the release. In fact, by the time you start going through that process, you will be willing to bribe to just bypass it. You will be willing to do that. That's how bad it is. And very ironic, those rules and those processes are there to check corruption, but they are so difficult that it will make you corrupt. So, but let me just say this, downplay we always shout corruption is our problem. Yeah. But we should also know this. We should not be defining corruption from Western perspective. There are a lot of our habit, a lot of our cultures, which to us is not corruption, but in the Western sense is corruption. Let's take, for example, let's say someone did something very good to you, is African culture. You just give him a little gift, a little token. It doesn't hurt. It's our habit. Western sense, it is corruption. Let us assume that you are in a position. African sense, you are to help your family and relatives. Probably in Western sense, that's nepotism. So, for the sake of this talk, I try to define corruption. To me, corruption is any act that will bring benefit to one or group of people at the detriment of the public. Any action you do for your benefit or group of people's benefit, which is at the detriment of the public, in my view, that's corruption, because you are doing it at the expense of the state, and it is going to affect lives. From this short talk, you can think that you can see that leadership is not an easy thing in Africa. All right, Elizabeth, how many times do I have?
Just about a minute to round up your thoughts.
All right. Wow, and I haven't even gone to the lessons. All right. No problem. I'll round it up. So leadership is not easy. Leadership is not a one-man job. It's a collective responsibility that requires everyone at every level of authority and social status to do his responsibility and to do it well. I think with this, I've gone deep into I've given you a bit of insight how difficult it is to work in public service. And as we go into the question and answer session, I will share with you the lessons I've learned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim Lawal. I could hear from your talk how that you were sharing what is truly happening to you. So you were really being honest about your experiences, how that sometimes the processes can take too long, how the processes that were supposed to corruption actually, encourages it. You were very clear about what you experienced personally. It was very clear from your words how that this is the reality you're living. So we thank you so much for bringing that to us, for engaging with us on that level. So there's some interesting questions from the audience.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me prepare my
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I know that you have like this deep interest in philosophy. So I think this first question is truly going to excite you.
All
so
right.
The first question is: it is said that when governments or nations fail, it is through their institutions. Yet it is a public service that makes up those institutions. So what does this mean? So this dichotomy that governments fail because of their institutions, or the public service is what makes up those institutions. So is it that governments fail because of the public service, or is there something else going on that we don't know?
First of all, I think he's struggling with the word, the concept public service and the government. All right.
Okay. So are they two separate entities?
Not really. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Public service is government. First of all, let's take it to a philosophical. We have the state, right? Can you see the state? Can you touch the state? No.
No.
It's a social force. It's theoretical. It's a social force. It is there, but you can't see it. Then the state creates a machinery. It's called the government. The government creates a machinery, which is that machinery that will function for the government is called the public service. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the public service are a group of individuals with procedures, rules, and regulation that are pursuing the interests of the government and the state. So now, when the public service, by institutions, they are the public service. The institution of government is public service. You may have maybe other social institutions like family, like religious institution, but I'll confine it this way: the institutions of the state. So we have it's basically the public service. When the public service fails, government fails, no doubt about it. But when we say institution, mostly we are more focused on the laws, rules and regulations, right? Those rules and regulations are made by people. So we don't only need strong institutions, we need also strong men. Those laws, we can break them. Forget it, we can break them. Those laws could be a problem. Rule of law can be tyrannical. So I see it more as the people. I don't look at it abstractly when it comes to is the people, the individuals that govern. That's where the issue is. If we need to move forward, we need new set of competent people like the ones we have in this group into the public service.
So I think this nicely leads on to the next question, which is that how can then public service individuals, public servants, be held accountable for their actions? Since you say that the rules are such that they're not strong or binding, how then can public servants be held accountable for their actions?
So that in each country, there are rules and procedures of holding public service accountable for their actions. For example, in the Constitution, in Nigeria, you can recall your elected representative. Most people doesn't even know about that section of the Constitution. I think a number one recommendation for all cohort here is that you should go and read the Constitution of your country. You should read it. It's very, very important. The second way of accountability is through a kind of a civil society. If you have a kind of organization, you can go and face any agency of public service and ask them, why are you not doing this, and that? From the Constitution, there's allocation to each ministry. We're supposed to know, why are you not opening up? Why are we not knowing about how much did it come to your coffers this month? In Nigeria, for example, every month, each tier of government, what is shared among each tier of government will be made public. So it's left for the people to ask, what have you done with that money? I can say they can do it by forming a kind of association, then writing a complaint about it. They can sue the government. It's another way of accountability. You can sue. You can make your parliament investigate. That's why we always have this proven investigation by National Assembly in Nigeria. You can make them investigate. So it's a way of accountability. There are many ways of accountability.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Yeah, you are. And it's very interesting that you tell us very boldly that we can actually sue you, just
kidding. But please don't.
If there's any... Of course not. But thank you for being, for being open with all the options that are truly available to us, and that we know we're informed, we're knowledgeable about, what's going on. So this question was from Ali Cize from the Gambia. Thank you so much for, engaging with us. We're grateful. So the next question is one I think a lot of people are really curious about. And then the question is, how did you make it into public service at such a young age? That's true. You're what, 25?
I'm expecting that question. So it's simple mentorship. It's a simple mentorship. My mentor is Professor Ibrahim Gambari, who was former Minister of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, former PAMSEC, former Undersecretary of the United Nations, a scholar and also a diplomat of refuge.
Wow.
So he's the one that really identified me somewhere and just picked me up as his personal assistant. And I was working with him when he was appointed Chief of Staff to the President of Nigeria in 2020. And he decided, right, I should be Special Assistant to President of Nigeria on Development Policy. He recommended to Mr. President, and Mr. President approved. So that's how I got it.
Wow. Wow. So this is maybe we'll have a different session about the power of mentorship, and then you can also speak to that. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so there's this other question I think that's really on the minds of a lot of people. And then the question is, having observed leadership deficiency, in the public service, because you're right there in the middle of things, what do you think are ways we can, play a role to tackle these challenges? What do you think from your perspective?
Sorry, come again. I didn't get the question.
Okay, so the question is that, having observed all the leadership deficiencies in the system, so from your perspective, what are some things you think we can do to tackle these challenges?
All right, I will say acquire knowledge first.
Okay.
And as of now, this is basically what you will need. You need to acquire a lot of knowledge and experience, and also try to learn about the past leaders, their style of leadership, what are the challenges they face, and keep imagining if you are in that position, what you will do. And also try to get yourself into the system, into the public service, so that you will know some of the procedures, the internal workings. Those kind of things, I think, would be what will prepare you for now. Because to me, just prepare now. And if to say what we can do to change it, usually it's about, they say we should make choice. Yeah, I think we are trying through platforms like this Future Africa, through other civil societies, we are holding our leaders accountable, which is quite important, and it's really shaping policies. It's really shaping policies. But I would say still, we are going to have our turn. It's just a matter of time. We will be here. Acquire knowledge. That is how you will change the situation. Acquire knowledge. And by knowledge, I don't mean only reading books. I mean travel, meet people, engage in social activities. It's very important.
Wow. There's another interesting question here that says that I'm really confused now as to what public service is. When we talk about public service, we don't talk about these services that the citizens are entitled to, such as hospital services, maybe free health, things like this. So it's as though public service is different from the services to the public. Is there really a dichotomy there, or is it just the wrong perception?
No. So the aim of government, right, is to try to provide certain needs of the people. So it's left for the government to look at the people and say, all right, these are something that are basic need to the people. We have to provide it. While these ones, private individuals, you yourself, you can be able to provide. Why do I use hospital, for example? That's the health sector, or schools, that's the education sector. Because these are basic needs, and we need it in Africa. First, we have problem of accessibility of it. Second, we have a big problem of affordability of those services. And right from independence up to now, government in Africa have been trying to provide those services. Not alone, because they can't cover it alone. There are also private players in those sectors. But these things are basic needs. Personally, in my view, they should be made public good. You know what I mean? I hope our crowd know what I mean by public good. Personally, they should be made public. Everyone should have accessibility and be able to afford going to hospital, going to school. To me, that's not an option. So what is happening now in Africa is that there is commercialization of those public services. And there's a narration that those things are not the responsibilities of government. So they will tell you what government is to provide security to secure your lives and property, to provide institutional framework, that means, and do foreign international relations. And they will tell you that that's the function of government. And that is why we are facing a lot of problems in Africa. That these are only the functions of government. With the level of shortage of capital we have and capacity among Africans, then who will deal with the issue of health sector, the kind of endemic diseases we have? To me, there's just an excuse to failure. Honestly, it's an excuse to failure. It's just a kind of propaganda. Well, since we can't deliver, we just create that propaganda to just make you take responsibility. And that's why soon we'll be having a high rate of suicide. We are facing a lot of rebellion because we cannot provide those basic needs as a government and commercializing it. So I hope I answer our question. It's just those kind of services are. Go on.
So if I hear you, these services are supposed to be provided by the government in truth.
Yep.
So it's a failure on the government's part that these services are not provided. So if I come in as a public servant, would some of my duties say, could this be part of some areas that would fall under my portfolio? Okay.
Yep. There are many people that I have colleagues here that handle issues of health sector. And she's actually a woman, she's trying her best to see the sector being kind of transformed. But it's not
it's not easy. I can imagine. Yeah. So there's this truly interesting question, which I think I'm also curious about. And then it says, do you often find that you have to make compromises? Saying that at the beginning of your talk, you mentioned how that even within the ministries, in the government, for the same people, they're conflicting ideas, conflicting opinions. So coming in as a technocrat, how do you then balance this? And also knowing the fact that you said that professional is personal, people might try to personally lobby you to their side. So how do you balance these things to make sure that you maintain integrity and the system can function in the best possible way?
First of all, you have to understand, I have the clear goal of what government is all about and what I'm going to achieve. I know I have to make compromise even at personal level. Maybe personally on my values, I have to say, all right, for this guy, I don't do this, but the situation warrants that maybe I have to give an exception. There's always an exception to the rule. In fact, the whole issue of policy making is a compromise among conflicting interests. You have this idea, you have that idea, you have to compromise and say, all right, let's have a middle ground where let go of this, I let go of this, then we agree on this. But the major issue is part of the lesson I learned. You have to keep your eyes on the goal, but flexible on the means.
Okay.
And you have to hold on to your conviction. You must have a conviction. You must have certain no-go areas, some things that you don't. Personally, I'm beloved a lot, my friend. A lot. A lot. I have faced, like, it's an attempted bribery, but there's a way people attempt to bribe you in such a way that you wonder, is it a bribe or not? It's left for you to figure out. There was once, I'll tell you a story. Someone called me. He wanted to see, he wanted to get a kick up into a program like that. So the moment he finished his talking, I used one word, one sentence. I said, I'm not interested. What followed was one silent. It is as if it is a graveyard. He just kept silent. Then he said, are you serious? I'm talking about millions. I said, I'm not interested. He can't believe it. Honestly. Someone tried to lobby me to get also some things done. I thought he said we can divide it 50-50, which is millions of naira. I told her I'm not interested. She kept quiet. I don't know why people, when I tell them this sentence, I'm not interested, they think I'm mad, really. The kind of silence that follows is, I have to say, hello, are you there? They'll say, are you serious? They always ask this question. Are you serious? I'll tell them, I am serious. And I don't compromise that. That's my conviction. I don't do that. I can help you. I can help you to achieve something that you want to achieve, which will be personal to you. If I see it is good for the public, I can definitely help you with that. And most people use my sympathy when they try to bribe. Probably they don't know how to bribe. So yeah, I first we face a lot of that. We make compromises where the context allows for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but as a whole, I think one has to have conviction, has to repent. Just a little bit. This my habit has caused someone who is a senior to send a message to me through my senior that I should know the direction I'm going. I couldn't get what he means, because what happened was he offered me, I think, about $5 or something like that, and I told him I'm not interested. So he was surprised. So he said, well, I should know my direction, because later on I found out what he means, that I'll finish this and end up poor.
Wow.
But one has to have a conviction, and I want to have a good conscience at the end of the job. Yeah.
So you've talked about your personal experiences, how they've been lobbied. Then there are some times when other people might not sort of have these convictions. Have you had to deal with a situation where there were other public servants who were carrying out, duties, but not in the best interest of the public?
Yeah.
Such that, okay. How does this work? Yeah.
We do. If it comes through my way, I block it. Simple.
Okay. Okay. So you basically stand in the way of that like process going forward.
I basically stand on that way, and I think they will have to find another way.
Another way.
I would say no if I like. That's when I'm not in the mood for long English. Simple no.
Yeah. But where does this audacity come from?
I don't know. I absolutely don't.
Okay.
I can be diplomatic sometimes. Sometimes I cannot. or I'll tell you it's difficult. The moment I say it's difficult, it's my no. That's all. Second thing is, if I wish, I can send you a question that you can't answer, and that killed it. So I'll ask you a question that you can't answer.
Okay.
Or if you are going to answer it, one, you either expose yourself, two, you go back to the drawing board and make it to the interest of the public. That's the way to answer the question.
So if more of us who are preparing for public service, what do you think is the best way to sort of getting a foothold? So I know for you, it was mentorship. Have you seen from your experience that this is the best way to go about it? Or are there other platforms where we can engage as youth? And
the best way, my view, is definitely mentorship. That's the best and easiest way. Why? Because first, you get to have access, get to the level that you don't look at the level I am now. I sit shoulder to shoulder with ministers. I sit shoulder to shoulder with all the tops in the country, diplomats, all of them. We make decisions. We get it implemented. The Vice Mr. President, he accepts it. So that's mentorship. I can't get to this level if I say already I join in career, I join in through political office. It's quite difficult. And one good thing with mentorship is as you are doing it, you know there's someone above you that is guiding you. So the moment he sees you are going to make a mistake, he stops you, say no, don't. So I'm always confident, with anything I'm going to say, with any decision I'm going to make, because I know it has to be checked by someone before it is finally being finalized, before that action is being finalized. So I don't feel pressure. However, there are many ways, there's through you join the career public service. Very, very important. Very, very important. We are what we are because of the competence of that level. You can join through political office, which is very, very important also, because also at the end of the day, they are the one that sign it or decline it, any action. So we can all do that. But for now, for most of us, I would say, let us join the career public service. While there are mentorship even at that level, but it's not much, but there are mentorship. What it does, it gives you an inner view into how government works, the corporate politics, because there are corporate politics. You have to know how to do that. It's one of the lessons I learned. One of the lessons I learned is that sometimes you have to fight to protect your position. Sometimes what matters is survival. Surviving, that's it. That's just what matters. So sometimes you have to fight to protect your position. Within the institution. So you will get to know that, you get to know all those problems. So by the time, and maybe you are now some political interest, or you have a party ticket also being involved. So by the time you get through, whether as technocrat, because even as a career public servant, you can be appointed at that technocratic level. Yeah. So by the time you get into that level, at those two top levels, you already know the problems in those institutions, the politicking. But by the time you are making policy, you already know the capacity of those that can implement it. By the time your policy is facing problem, you already know what you may guess already. There's something happening. What kind of problem is then happening? Which groups are influencing, are fighting each other? You already know where to hit.
Thank you so much for this. So there's one other interesting question here, and then it says that, what are the characteristics that are ideal for people who would work and thrive in the public sector? So from your experience, what can you see about a person that would tell you, oh, this person would thrive here? If you were to pick a mentee, if I should put it that way, what characteristics what characteristics would you look out for that will tell you that, oh, this person is going to thrive in this space?
First of all, I would say we should be knowledgeable, be able, at least let him be able to learn and learn fast. Let him have that capacity. Second, he should be able to be very critical and smart in such a way that he can engage with people from different backgrounds, and also by engaging, which means he can talk in different tones. If you can engage with people from different backgrounds, which means he can talk in different tones. So he should also be patient, firm, approachable people, but as I said, firm. So I think those qualities, knowledge, ability to learn fast, how do you call it? Good public relation, patience, firmness, and courage. So you must be able to sometimes say no when need arises. Yeah.
So when you say knowledgeable, so when you say knowledgeable about what? What body of knowledge?
Everything.
Okay.
You should know something of everything. So, like take for example, when I met you, when we had this talk meeting, you'll be surprised. What I did is over the night I tried to go and read about this energy, gas, and I try to enrich myself into this energy and gas. So you should have knowledge of everything, know something of everything, know something of everything, so that you are dealing with the public. Elizabeth is energy, Tessa Keller is foreign relations, so and that's how they are. You are the leader. So someone would come to you about foreign issues. You should appear like an expert and be able to understand what he's saying. At least if you are not like expert as he is, you should be able to understand what he's saying. If someone is coming from the energy sector, you should be able to understand what that person is saying, so that you will not hear like mumu. So so you should learn everything. I literally means everything.
So if you look back on your journey, what would you say has surprised you the most in your journey in public service?
Thank you for reminding of this question. The level of sacrifice. It is wonderful. It's probably something I'm not ready for it, or I don't like it. I really don't. See, sometimes I'm Mr. Procedure. Sometimes, even if you have never met me, you send me a letter, I read it, it makes sense, I'll buy it. I'll buy into that idea. I don't care. But the system over time has been about has changed to more like who you know. So people actually go with that. They don't really, first, they don't even matter to build their capacity. It's just they are looking for who they know. And if you have that access to power, like you are in the position that I am, they'll be coming to you, offering you a lot of enticement, begging you for things, and you'll be surprised. Honestly, you'll be surprised. It cut across the rich and the poor, it cut across the Christian and the Muslim, it cuts across all sorts of tribes. You'll be wondering, what is wrong? What is happening? What is wrong? The test they will be demanding is far, far, far beyond their capacity. Is far, far, far beyond their capacity. And the level they will reach is almost immoral. So it's honestly something that I found very, very surprising. It has passed as far as my expectation. But I have come terms to it. I've come terms to it.
So Ibrahim, there's this interesting analogy about the pyramid you made at the beginning of your presentation, where you said that there's the politicians, the technocrats, and then the career civil servants. So, and then with the experience of public service, I suspect it to be different at these three levels. So what do you think might be the perception of someone, say, as a politician? Would this person perceive him or her as a public servant? Or what has been your experience in general with politicians and public service?
This is a very good question. You see, the politicians, some of them consider themselves the politicians, not the public servants. And that is a problem with it. They say we are the politicians. Even the public servants, like even me, I consider them as the politicians. Those politicians, their personal interest comes first. They are very interesting creatures. So their aim is to always sustain that power. That's it, their aim. That's their aim. They want to protect it. They want to keep it. If the policy are pushing, favor them keeping that seat, they will approve it. If the policy are pushing did not favor them, it is not going to go far. Even if that is for the state, that is at the benefit of the public, it is not going to survive. So that is why you find most of the politicians in their plan, they are very short term. And first, they're short term, they're also physical, but they're after like tangible things, not intangible. So they're after like building roads.
Yes, and bridges.
And they won't invest on human. And that's why even the whole of the content, we are more of physical development than human development. Because first of all, if you are investing in human development, how do you quantify it? How long will it take to build a human? So they are not after that. They are not after that. That's at the political level. The technocrats sometimes are also like the politicians. So the challenge that we face as a technocrat is how to convince those at the top to approve your policy. And that's one skills that we have. I think we are persuasive. We are particularly a written. I think anyone you hear at that our level is very good at it. We have something honestly I find among us, so we can write persuasively to get something done. But we always try to get all right. This guy that we want him to approve, or this place that what's their interest? What do they want? All right, then we know there's a politics of writing. It's something that there's a politics of writing. I'm serious about that. There's a politics of writing, and if we to get it done, the technocrat, they have the interest of the nation. They are professionals and they know how to get things done. But at the end of the day, they have to get stamped by that politician. And most of the time you spend it's not about the problem. You spend it about convincing those at the top, like, look, this is the way to go. So that's your headache mostly as a technocrat. And sometimes our technocrats are also self-serving. No question about it. So they will say, all right, we are here, you are paying us good salary. What do you want us to do? All right, we want to get to the next election. All right, do this, leave these policies. Don't do this. It will not get you the election. Some of us are like that. We are like detached from it. You want your seat? Don't do this policy. Even if it's for the nation, for the event, don't do it. Do this. We get the money at the end of the tenure. We leave. Career public service. That's why it is most important, because they are the institution. They are the institution that implement. The problem is probably because of unfair reward system. I don't know.
mm,
They seems first they seem to be uncivil
okay,
and sometimes servile.
okay, okay.
You know,
Mm,
they are all they are typical populace. You know, they are typical. They're after uh, their salary. They're always thinking about their salary at the end of the month,
mm,
and that's just they can they can be very productive, proactive, get things done, but there seems to be what I find the problem is that because they see sometimes the benefit go to the politician. It's the politicians
mm,
that get the credit, that get everything,
mm, mm,
they prove it,
mm,
everything. So they
mm.
seem they are not from the perspective they are a bit how do I say they are cynic. They are
Okay.
cynical. That's how I
Okay.
that's how I find it. There are people that are enthused that are competent and professional, but I think we need to get that level really stronger, you know. Because
Mm.
even when they go out to implement policies, it's not that
It's not done so
enthusiastic.
well. So was this something you found out in your research? Because I was reading your work on income inequality, specifically in Nigeria. So is this something you have found out that is a problem? And it's what you're saying tells me that if we're to really change anything about our institutions, we have to somehow make sure that the reward system is fair at the career public service level and ensure that the politicians see themselves as public servants. Is this thought correct?
Yep, you're
Mm,
absolutely right. So
mm,
let me give you an example of the unfair
mhm,
reward system. Let's take, for example, a national petroleum company,
mm,
and also a ministry of petroleum.
mm,
What a low-level officer earns in a month
mm,
is almost probably equivalent to a deputy director in a ministry. And the ones in the ministry are the ones that are supposed to be supervising those in the
mm,
NGO. What do
mm.
you expect?
I can only
So
imagine.
now imagine this. Imagine the
Mm,
payment of a police officer
mm,
and also, let's say, someone that work in the communication sector. It's very even a low
mm,
rate someone that work in the communication sector. Police officer risks his life, always in the sun, always responding to emergencies, but they are in the minimum wage.
mm,
While these guys, probably, let's say, revenue generating agents get a lot of money. They are paid a
mm,
lot of money.
mm,
And if any agency like refuse to pay tax, and let's say the revenue generating agency is collect is the one in charged with collection of tax, they cannot
mm.
go and arrest that person. They will get the police. But still, there is so much inequality among the public service. So the police will not be eager to do his job. He will be wishing to
Mm.
get his work to get a change of work to FIRS, for example,
Yeah.
or or
Mm.
NNPC. So actually,
Right.
that it affects enthusiasm when you see
Mm,
someone just not even at your level, not working as much as you do, not sacrificing to the nation as much as you do, making it, living a flamboyant life, you know, while you are doing it for the nation, but you are
mm,
not able to make those needs. You have personal issues, and the worst thing is the public even doesn't appreciate you. No one say, "All right, well done." No, no one say that
yeah.
to you. No one say you are very idiot. No, it's very bad. It's part of all the issue with public service. Yeah.
So if you could change one thing, you had all the power to change one thing, what do you think that thing would be?
Oh, that's a tough question. uh, well, probably I would try to minimize the disparity in terms of that process. I would try to minimize it. It won't change, like it won't solve the entire problem, And humans, the more we have, the more we desire more. But I'll try to kind of address that issue of inequality. Let's everyone share the same hope, Let everyone have access to those basic needs, those basic services, regardless of where you come from. Let whatever level you are, let you see that you have the opportunity to be at the top one. That's what I will try to do.
Wow. Ibrahim, thank you so much. Thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for sharing honestly your experiences and answering all our questions, openly and honestly. So if you want us not to ever forget anything from this session, so maybe 3 key thoughts you don't ever want us to forget from this session, what would those 3 thoughts be?
All right. I will share with you like personally.
Okay.
Let's say I will go with quote this time. So I will go with Aristotle. There's a quote by Aristotle I like. He said, "Life is a gift of nature, and good living a gift of wisdom." We are all humans. We have to live a good life. You should always have that in your perspective. Whatever is professional is also personal. Whatever is professional is also personal. The second take is you should have a conviction. You should have a very strong conviction about what you want to try. Please, even if you deceive people, don't deceive yourself. Please. If you don't know what to do, tell people you know what to do, but please tell yourself, I don't. Don't deceive yourself. That is, I think I still revolve around the same thing. Is don't breach trust. I think where I've been it's all personal. Professional is personal. So try to remember that wherever you are, at whatever level, whether in government, private sector, it's a trust. The reason why I'm being honest here is because I trust that you trust me to say the truth. Therefore, you should have that trust. You should be able to say the truth. Mostly, it's how you say the truth that really matters. So that really gets you whether in trouble or not out of trouble. So I would advise you, if you see the truth will, believe me, practically truth doesn't set you free, it sets you in jail, it sends you in jail. So sometimes you better keep quiet.
Okay, this perspective can only be had from someone in the system.
So you should learn to keep quiet. Silence doesn't.
Okay, guys, you heard it here. What is professional is personal, really saying that the public service comes from personal interest and desire. So it's this passion of yours that drives you into the public service. And then you should always have convictions, because please go on.
And even your success there, it depends on your personal issues, your personalities, your values, kind of personal life you live. Even your success there depends on it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then you also shared the last thought that whatever level we're in, whether the public sector or the private sector, we should know that these positions are given to us in trust. And we should be able to say the truth in such a way as not to get in jail. Or do you have like some context to that? So say the truth in such a way not to get in jail. Or what's going on there actually?
Take for example, assuming you ask me now to say, have I moderated very well? And let's assume you moderated bad. I don't want to tell you that it's bad. I'll say I won't tell you that you have done bad. I'll tell you may have done better. That's all. You have said the truth.
Okay, so you should say the truth in a way that you can still build consensus. If I hear you.
Take for example, I told you you may have done better. Let's say that you did bad.
It's bad. Yeah.
Even if you
Yeah.
did good, you can have done better.
Yeah. Okay. I see the technocrat diplomats coming out now, towards the end of the program. I see that coming out. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for your time. I'm truly, truly grateful. We're all grateful for sharing your experiences, your thoughts, answering our questions honestly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
To everyone on the call, we truly appreciate your time, your attention. You can follow Future Africa on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and Instagram. There's the Future Africa Fellowship and the Future Africa Ambassadors Program, which is different from the Future Africa's Forum. So if you've really enjoyed this talk here, and if you want to find ways in which you can engage with the public service, please do well to apply. Future Africa Fellowship is closed for the year, but the Future Africa's Ambassador is still open for applications. So we're truly, truly, truly grateful to have all of you here. And we hope that these thoughts from this session would go with you in your journey in public service. And then you can look back on today and say, oh, okay, yeah, I got something from this. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We're grateful. Have a good week ahead, guys. Take care. Bye.